Alright, what is going on, y'all? We are back with another video. In today's video, let's talk about the 2021 trade deadline. I know it's been over a week since I last talked about the NBA, but honestly, I was waiting until the trade deadline to really talk about the NBA. So let's get right to it, man. Let's start off with the biggest name that was traded during this deadline. That was Nikola Vucevic. Honestly, I didn't expect the Bulls to make this type of trade. They add an All-Star, add another co-star, alongside Zach LaVine, and you can see the direction that the Bulls is you know, heading towards now. So very good trade for the Bulls. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. This I seen last night that they were, they was the favorite to land Aaron Gordon. I definitely think this is must needed for them because they need to upgrade that power forward position. Because Paul Millsap at this point in his career, he's really best being a backup four. He's not the player he used to be, so I think this is a very good upgrade for Denver. They dealt away Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and to protect the 2025 first round pick. Gary Harris is going to stay healthy, man. So hopefully, new situation, works out for him. RJ Hampton is a very good young player, and then nice first round pick for the Magic. So along with the Nikola Vucevic, the Magic is, acquiring first round picks to be around, alongside of the young squad. So they really focusing more. They in rebuild mode, so they focusing more on Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz. One day they'll get a new situation, and Otto Porter Jr. being a mentor to that Orlando squad, which would be interesting. And they also acquired 2 more first round picks, so get the build for the future. Okay, let's talk about the Nuggets. Also acquiring JaVale McGee. This is much needed because they needed a backup 5. They needed rim protection because they had no type of rim protection there. The loss of Mason Plumlee. So adding JaVale McGee is a solid backup choice. He's not as good as, Mason Plumlee was for Denver, but it's definitely an upgrade and much needed for Denver. So they gave up Isaiah Hartenstein, 2023 protected second round pick, and a 2027 second round pick in Cleveland, which I think honestly that's also a good deal. That's a win-win situation for both teams. Cleveland got 2 second round picks out of JaVale McGee, so win-win for both teams. Alright, let's talk about Boston acquiring Evan Fournier. Must need a scoring off the bench. They need another shooter. But I'm just looking like the overall Boston as overall from the trade deadline. I'm not too excited for what Boston did. They still had a trade exception that honestly they haven't used that, and then they needed more. I still think they need more. They need a 5, but they gave up. We don't talk about this a little later on in the video, but they gave up Daniel Theis, which I don't understand that. So I'm not liking what Boston did too much in the trade deadline, but I like them acquiring Evan Fournier because he's another shooter, he's another scorer off the bench, and they gave up 2 second round picks from to Orlando. Like I said, Orlando is acquiring picks and they building towards the future. Let's talk Miami Heat getting a Victor Oladipo, man. This was to me a very, very good pickup for Miami. So I love the way Miami what they did during this trade deadline. So they got 3 new additions. We're gonna talk about this one first. So they got Victor Oladipo. So they gave up Kelly Olynyk, who wasn't gonna be there after the season. Avery Bradley, who was injured, throughout pretty much the whole season, and a swap. So they still got their pick, but they did swapping with Houston. Overall, they got Victor Oladipo because everybody knew Victor Oladipo wanted to go to Miami. They gave up 2 players who wasn't going to be their path this year. They got Victor Oladipo for sure because you never know what can happen. Even though he was favorite and he was most likely going to go Miami in the offseason, but you never know what can happen in the offseason. So they got Victor Oladipo for sure, and they still have cap space after this season. So it's a win situation for Miami, man. I think Miami did a great job doing the trade deadline. And speaking of Miami, they got Bielisa for Sacramento, which I'm like, it was okay pick, pretty much replacing Kelly Olynyk. He's a stretch 4, and I believe he might be a free agent after the season. They gave up Mo Harkless and Chris Silver to the Kings. So overall, it's a replacement for Kelly Olynyk. And let's not forget about this. I really do believe that Miami's going to get LaMarcus Aldridge after he's bought out by the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm really liking what Miami's doing while keeping the cap space available for this offseason. Alright, next up. The Clippers getting Rajon Rondo. So they trade Lou Williams and 2 second round picks to Atlanta. You know what? I don't know how I feel about this. I'm iffy on the situation because they need it. I think it's a good pickup Clippers because they need that point guard badly. They need playmaker. They need leadership from that point guard position. But at the same time, I think they're going to miss the scoring of Lou Will. I know he's falling out the rotation. I believe he wasn't going to be a Clipper beyond this year. And he's heading towards, more in his career. But they gave up Lou Will. I didn't think they need to give up Lou Will and 2 second-round picks. Like, the Clippers have no future, man, for the next 5 to 7 years. No picks. So this is the team they stuck with. I think it's a good pickup for the Clippers. But at the same time, I really think they're going to miss Lou Will more than they realize. So I'm still iffy on this, and I don't know. This Clipper team is up and down with me. I don't know how I feel about this Clippers team, but overall, I think it's a solid pickup for the Clippers. They address a much needed much needed position for them. A much needed fit for this team. All right, so Dallas getting JJ Redick. So they gave up James Johnson, West, and a 2021 second round pick to Pelicans. Okay, so Dallas pretty much they add another shooter for Luka. Obviously with them trading Steph Curry for Josh, what was it? Not Josh Richardson. Sorry, Josh Richardson. They obviously they need more shooting on this roster, and JJ Redick provides that shooting. For this Dallas team. So this is another weapon for space for Luka. One of the bigger names that are traded during the trade deadline, Norman Powell. So the Blazers got Norman Powell. They gave up Gary Trent and Rodney Hood. I really like Gary Trent for the Portland Trail Blazers. Rodney Hood was up and down this season. More down so far this season. The last couple of years before he got the injury, he was very solid for this Portland team. But Norman Powell is really he can provide. He's really a third scorer for them. He can give you 20 on any given night. He was averaging 20 this year, so he's having a very good year. I think they solidify their third consistent scorer with Rodney Hood. Sorry, with, Norman Powell. So it's a good score off the bench who can fill in at the starters sometimes, and they fill in their third guy who can really score the ball in late game situations. Besides Dame and CJ. So I think it's a very good pickup for Portland. And with them getting more healthy, this is a team to watch out for in the West. So good pickup for Portland, but I really do hate the fact that they had to get Gary Trent. So I'm liking what Toronto is getting Gary Trent. So watch out for Gary Trent being a lot better in Toronto. 76ers getting George Hill. So who did they give up? Don't say who they gave up. Okay. So 76ers gave up George Hill. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they gave up. It was Tony Bradley. They gave up Terrence Ferguson, who ended up going to the Knicks, and I think a second round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So overall, really adds another shooter who can space out the floor for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. He can handle the ball too, so that he's that veteran presence in the locker room, that vet on the court. So I think it's a very good pickup for this Philly team. Just add another guard to his roster. So good pickup for Philly. Add another shooter. I like what Philly's doing with his roster. This team stay up there. This team gonna be a threat. Threat in the playoffs. Rodney Hood, Gary Trent. Magic getting out of Porter, Wendell Carter. Yeah, talk about that. Oh yeah, the Bulls also got Alpha Amino on there as well. Really like what the Bulls did. So the Kings, this trade happened late last night, so I was asleep by then. But the Kings got D-line on right for Corey Joseph and 2 second round picks. Okay. So Kings added a solid guard, who could come off the bench. Another guard alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and De'Aaron Fox. So good solid player off the bench. And these are the big trades that happened during the trade deadline. I feel like there was more. Let me double check. So yeah, overall these are also. Oh yeah, not to include Golden State traded Marcus Chris to the Spurs for cash. Okay, that's an interesting. Not too big of a deal. Nice solid minor pickup for the Spurs. Once Marcus Chris get healthy, he's a solid big for them. Also, another underrated pickup from the Bulls with them getting Daniel Theis. They got Daniel Theis from Mo Wagner So this is why I don't know how I don't really like that for Boston. I really think they should have kept Daniel Theis. He was a professional. He was a very solid bid for them. He did everything that they asked him to do in Boston. I think that's a loss for them, man. I think that's a bigger loss than people realize. Daniel Theis, in my opinion, is one of the best backup bigs in the league, and the fact that the Bulls got Daniel Theis to back up Nikola Vucevic, man, very very good pickup for the Bulls. I love what the Bulls did during the trade deadline, alongside with Miami. Also, really like the additions that Denver did as well. They added upgraded at the fourth position, which is much needed. Depending what Aaron Gordon they get, man, because they get the Aaron Gordon that's engaged defensively and who's a live threat on offense. I think that'd be a very solid pickup. So he's a wild card. Also, Miami, getting Victor Oladipo, getting Bielisa, getting without giving up Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson, getting while saving cap space. I think Miami did a great job as well. And Houston, man, I really don't understand. I really don't understand what Houston. I know they had to think about the trade, the Harden trade. Now, like, what are they doing? I really don't understand what Houston is doing. I understand the 4 picks was was the main calling card for them trading James Harden, but I don't. Houston, man, I'm Houston. I really don't know what they're doing right now. Also, last but not least, man, let's talk about. Like I said, I think Miami is going to be from the buyout market. Marcus Aldridge, man, I think he's going to Miami, which I think it'd be very good for Miami. Then we don't know about Andre Drummond. That's going to be the main buyout player. Then we got potentially her Otto Porter might be in the buyout market, but we're going to see how that situation play out. I don't think he's going to get bought out, but we see how that situation plays out. And then, not just Drummond. Who else? It was Drummond, Marcus. I feel like somebody else who was a top candidate to get bought out. I also seen something about potentially. I saw something earlier about John Wall potentially getting bought out, but I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, that's no. Okay. Also, the biggest disappointment obviously was Kyle Lowry not getting the spokesman Kyle Lowry. But at the end of the day, Toronto and didn't feel like they got enough work back for Kyle Lowry. I understand why they didn't trade him, but the way that the media was pushing, emphasizing that Kyle Lowry was gonna get traded, really was disappointing. But I think that if Kyle Lowry, good to see him finish out the season in Toronto, I think they could potentially see us sign and trade him in the offseason. That's what I think most likely going to happen. But we're going to see how that situation plays out. And I think I'm going to leave it at that, man. Overall, this trade deadline was very interesting. It was medium fire, It was pretty decent. It was interesting. But yeah. Guys, let me know how you guys feel about this trade deadline. Let me know if you like what your favorite team did during the trade deadline. If you didn't like what your favorite team did during this trade deadline, tell me why in the comments. And with that being said, man, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.